Imagine a book that was revealed more than 1,400 years ago, and millions of people still read and follow it every day. But the question is, who wrote this book? Someone who was illiterate, could neither read nor write. The Quran, the holy book of Muslims, is a living miracle. The Prophet Muhammad received this book from God without having the ability to write it himself. This simple fact is the greatest sign of the Quran's power and miracle, a book that has remained unchanged until today, inspiring millions of lives around the world. The Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, was born in 570 CE in the city of Mecca. He lived in a society where literacy was rare and various religions and beliefs were scattered. The Quran, the holy book of Muslims, was gradually revealed to the Prophet by the angel Gabriel, starting in 610 CE. This process of revelation continued over about 23 years. During this time, the Quran was inspired to the Prophet, who taught it to his followers and memorizers. What is remarkable is that the Quran has been preserved precisely and unchanged to this day. The text is exactly the same as it was revealed 1,400 years ago, memorized by millions around the world. No significant change has been made in the order or content of the Quran, which itself is one of the greatest miracles of this book. Have you ever felt that there is something beyond this material world? Do you know which book has the greatest impact on our peace, hope, and behavior? A book that millions read every day, yet only a few truly understand the depth of its spiritual power. The Quran, this holy book, is not just words and sentences. It is a source of amazing spiritual forces that can transform our lives. But how? Calming the mind and reducing stress. Reciting the Quran with a gentle voice and rhythmic flow acts like a spiritual music therapy that soothes brainwaves into a state of calm. The verses are filled with messages of hope and comfort that help the mind move away from worries during stressful times. Scientific studies have shown that listening to or reading the Quran reduces stress hormones like cortisol and regulates heart rate, thus balancing body and mind, strengthening faith and hope in life. The Quran contains many verses about patience, divine reward, and God's mercy that motivate people not to give up in the face of life's challenges. These teachings revive the belief in a greater purpose and ultimate justice, especially in difficult times, boosting hope and resilience. This power stems from deep spiritual influence and direct connection to religious beliefs, improving focus and mindfulness. Focusing on the Quran's verses requires full mental presence and careful attention to meaning and sound. This repeated practice strengthens mental skills like attention, concentration, and thought control. Moreover, the spiritual atmosphere and unique order of words and verses create a form of spiritual meditation that reduces mental distraction and increases focus, enhancing ethics and human behavior. The teachings of the Quran include commands for kindness, fairness, honesty, and respect for others. When a person reads and understands these teachings, these concepts become ingrained in their subconscious and shape ethical behavior. This influence comes from the sacred word and divine guidance of the Quran, aiming to build a better and more humane society. Deeper connection with spirituality and the Creator. As the Word of God, the Quran provides a direct and spiritual connection to the Creator. Reciting and reflecting on the Quran increases the sense of divine presence and inner peace. This connection goes beyond mind and body, leading to the blossoming of the soul and a profound sense of satisfaction. This power comes from faith in divine revelation and the truth of the Quran's messages. The Quran is not just a book to be recited, it is a living guide that can completely change a person's life path. The verses of the Quran, with their messages of guidance and hope, lead people towards self-improvement and reform of character and behavior. Here are 5 real and impactful examples of the Quran's power to guide and transform lives. changing the life of an addict. Years of addiction, depression, and despair had caused a person to lose all hope. But when they became familiar with the Quran and began reciting and reflecting on its hopeful and merciful verses, their willpower gradually strengthened. The Quran's verses acted like a guiding light, showing them that life is worth changing and trying again. Faith in God's mercy and the promise of forgiveness became the motivation to quit addiction and start a clean life. This change transformed them not only physically, but also mentally and spiritually, improving their relationships with family and society. Rescue from misguidance. A person who had spent years on dangerous and wrong paths experienced a deep transformation upon hearing a verse from the Quran about mercy and guidance. This verse showed them that no one is beyond God's mercy, and there is always a chance for return and correction. By pondering this message, they found inner peace and decided to change their course. Now, they follow a new spiritual and ethical path in life, and this change has positively influenced their family and surroundings. Resolving family problems. A family that had struggled with severe conflicts and emotional wounds for years was looking for a way to heal their relationships. By studying the Quranic teachings about patience, forgiveness, and kindness, each family member understood the importance of patience toward mistakes and tolerance for one another. The inspiring verses of the Quran guided them toward dialogue and mutual respect. These teachings filled their home with love and understanding, gradually resolving their issues. Behavioral reform in the workplace. A manager facing serious problems in their team and organization due to unfair decisions and inappropriate behaviors reconsidered their conduct after becoming familiar with Quranic verses about justice and fairness. They learned that effective leadership is based on honesty and justice and applied these teachings in their work and relationships. This change not only improved the workplace atmosphere, but also increased employee trust and team productivity. A new life for new Muslims. For someone who recently embraced Islam, the Quran was like a roadmap for a new life. Its verses helped them understand the deeper meaning of life, ethics, and their relationship with God and others. The Quran brought them a greater sense of peace and purpose, distancing them from past behaviors. This transformation allowed them to be accepted into the Muslim community and start a meaningful new life. The miraculous power of the Quran. Remarkable and beautiful miracles. The Quran is not just a holy book. It is a collection of scientific, numerical, and linguistic miracles that capture the curiosity of every thoughtful person. In this section, we explore 5 amazing miracles of the Quran that reveal the depth and elegance of this divine book, the miracle of embryology. The Quran describes the stages of fetal development with great precision and detail, such as the creation of a human from a clinging clot, alaq, and then a chewed-like substance, mudghah. These accurate scientific descriptions were revealed thousands of years before modern medical technology and continue to astonish scientists today. The miracle of mountain structure. The Quran refers to mountains as the pegs of the earth, highlighting their role in stabilizing and balancing the planet. Modern geologists have confirmed that mountains help reduce earthquakes and maintain the Earth's stability, a fact unknown at the time of the Quran's revelation. The movement of the sun and moon. The Quran mentions the cyclical movement of the sun and moon and states that each moves in its own orbit. This concept of celestial bodies following fixed paths was described in the Quran centuries before astronomy confirmed it. Numerical order and specific word. Repetitions. The Quran exhibits a complex numerical structure. For example, the word yawm, day, is mentioned exactly 365 times, matching the number of days in a solar year. Such numerical patterns appear in many other words and topics throughout the Quran and are known as the Quran's numerical miracle. Predictions of historical events and scientific facts. The Quran contains verses referring to truths later confirmed by history and science, including the downfall of great empires, the spread of Islam, and various natural phenomena. Now, a question for you. Which of these miracles do you find the most believable or astonishing? Can you share any other miracles you know of? We look forward to reading your thoughts. Section 3.4. The linguistic and literary power of the Quran. Reasons and critique. The Quran is one of the unparalleled masterpieces of language and literature worldwide. Its language combines beauty, eloquence, and spiritual depth in a masterful way that captivates and deeply moves the listener. This work is not just a text, but a unique auditory and interpretive experience. Reasons for the Quran's linguistic power: unmatched eloquence and precise choice of words. Every word and sentence in the Quran is carefully selected and arranged to have the greatest semantic and emotional impact. This precision in language allows deep and complex concepts to be conveyed in the simplest possible form, so even those unfamiliar with Arabic can appreciate its beauty. Melodic rhythm and harmonious cadence. The Quran's specific poetic meter, executed with strict rules and order, creates a rhythm and melody that touches the soul. This natural and harmonious rhythm, along with meaningful repetitions, engages the listener's mind and heart, transforming the recitation into a spiritual and musical experience. Vivid metaphors and tangible imagery. The Quran uses strong metaphorical language and vivid imagery to convey meanings in a way that the listener can perceive not only mentally, but also through the senses. These images help communicate complex concepts such as justice, mercy, or the afterlife in a more concrete and understandable manner. Multi-layered meanings and interpretive depth. The Quranic verses contain multiple layers of meaning, each of which can have different interpretations depending on time and context. This feature ensures that the Quran remains relevant and comprehensible to new audiences, and always offers opportunities for deeper reflection and reinterpretation. Balance between simplicity and complexity. While the Quran's language can be very simple and fluent, it also contains profound depths and complexities. This balance allows individuals of all levels, from children to the scholars, to access and benefit from the Quran according to their understanding. Personal critique. Although the beauty and depth of the Quran's language are unmatched, its complexity can sometimes make it difficult and obscure for newcomers or those unfamiliar with Arabic. This has necessitated the use of specialized interpretations and guidance to fully understand the Quran, which is a result of its profound and multi-layered nature. In fact, this complexity is what sets the Quran apart from ordinary texts and ensures its timelessness and uniqueness. Conclusion. The power of the Quran's language lies in its unique combination of literary beauty, pleasing rhythm, strong imagery, and spiritual depth. These features make the Quran not only a religious scripture, but also an unparalleled literary and cultural masterpiece that continues to captivate and inspire people. Section 3.5. The preservation power of the Quran. Attempts to alter and their failure. The Holy Quran is not only a sacred book preserved both orally and in writing, but it also stands as one of the most astonishing examples of preserving historical texts that have remained essentially unchanged for over 1,400 years. Throughout this period, many enemies and groups have attempted to distort, alter, or omit parts of the Quranic text, yet none succeeded. Methods of preservation and reasons for its success. Extensive and precise oral memorization. Since the time of the Prophet Muhammad, thousands of individuals have memorized the Quran. This practice has been passed down generation by generation with great precision. These memorizers, through repetitive recitation and specialized training, have ensured that the Quran's text and pronunciation remain completely intact. This oral tradition, alongside both group and individual learning of proper recitation, quickly corrects any deviations in the text. comprehensive collection, and written documentation under strict supervision. After the Prophet's passing, the rightly guided caliphs rigorously compiled the Quran into official written versions. These manuscripts, authenticated by those who had memorized the Quran, were transmitted faithfully to subsequent generations. Existing Quranic manuscripts preserved in museums and libraries today serve as proof of the text's stability over the centuries. Strict rules of recitation and pronunciation. The Quran has very precise rules of recitation, tajweed, that make even the slightest change in pronunciation or letter order noticeable. These rules ensure that Quranic recitation remains uniform and unaltered across different geographic regions. Failed attempts to alter the Quran. Historically, some groups have tried to change, remove, or publish versions with personal alterations to the Quranic verses. However, because of the unmatched system of preservation and the role of memorizers, these attempts were quickly discovered and neutralized. This reality demonstrates the divine miracle of the Quran, which has remained unchanged despite the passage of centuries. The importance of preservation. The precise preservation of the Quran has made it not only a spiritual heritage, but also a reliable historical document. This has laid the foundation for the culture, civilization, and identity of millions of Muslims worldwide. The power of preserving the Quran itself stands as one of the greatest signs of the truth and miracle of this divine book. In this amazing journey through the Quran, we have uncovered its spiritual power, guidance, scientific miracles, unique language, and unparalleled preservation. The Quran is not just a book to read, but a living source that has transformed millions of lives and continues to inspire generations. Now it's time for you to reflect. Which of these aspects inspired or resonated with you the most? Do you have any personal experiences with the power of the Quran that you would like to share with others? We look forward to hearing your thoughts and stories in the comments. Also, if there is a specific part of the Quran you'd like us to explore further, please suggest it so we can cover it in future videos. Thank you for joining us, and we hope this spiritual journey brings you more peace and motivation.